Last time we crossed the bridge and finally ended up back in Crimea. Now, it's time to begin the battle for Alincia's homeland. It's come full circle. Actually starting off on the map screen this time, and now we're finally going to get a zoom in on the Crimea region, or at least the northern part of Crimea. This will be our final portion of the map for this game. The Crimean army defeats General Petrine, one of Ashnard's feared, four riders, and finally arrives home. The princess's return is met with the jubilation and tears of the retainers who have managed to survive. As long as we have Princess Alincia, Crimea will be liberated. These are the words that gave the people hope as they endured the harsh rule of a conquering country. The silent masses, who long for the restoration of their homeland, slowly begin to give voice to their dream. Surely, they think, this chance to see Crimea freed will not be wasted. Let's hope we don't let them down then. Chapter 24. In a lot of other games this would be close to the end, but this is only the last, I'd say, quarter of the game, maybe. Got a bit of a preview of the map here. This is Delbray Castle, or Castle Delbray, that's sometimes called. And we haven't seen this guy before, but we heard him mentioned. Kieran, I think, mentioned him back in Chapter 10. Just to cut in here saying that I really like the background here. I'm pretty sure this is the first time we're seeing that. You know, something tells me if you're planning a lavish party like this, it's gonna be interrupted. Music and entertainment, well, I guess Racing has that covered. I like this line, though. It's just a little bit of backstory on this one character, right as you're getting introduced to him. And, of course, your tempting fate there. This is also one of the few times we get to see happy Alincia. I think I've pointed this out before, but it's a very subtle change from her regular portrait, but it really says a lot for such a small change. I like what they did with this one. So explaining how the retainers managed to survive this long. I suppose most of the army wouldn't really recognize them. Don't think Ashnard particularly cared who Joffrey was. This line actually makes me picture that if this game had reclassing, Joffrey would probably have Butler as an option. I'm not really saying that much here because the characters are about to explain why I like this scene on their own. This is the first time we're really getting to see Alincia be herself since the beginning of the game. It's just interesting to see just how comfortable she is around Lucia and the rest of her friends. Yeah, let's just relax and forget about everything, and we're definitely going to have a battle, of course, because this is a Fire Emblem game. You can't have a chapter without a battle, well, except that one chapter in Blazing Sword that was just a shopping trip. That was kind of a weird chapter. And report, once again, it's nighttime here. And how did Jill get MVP just for staying behind and not actually helping with the main advance? Guess that just goes to show how often the people on the main front fell into pits. 983 combat experience is pretty impressive too. We only have one info conversation here, and it's a pretty hilarious one. I might as well do it now. It should be friend in inverted commas, because... Yep, this guy's back. I feel like there probably should have been a base conversation with Kirin here, but instead they gave us this. But anything to see more interactions between Masha and Makalov. Masha is still really great in these scenes. We knew this guy was a slime ball before, but now he's got even worse. Stealing from your own sister. So yeah, there is some dialogue here that makes one of Masha's lines in an earlier base conversation feel a little bit weird. Because they specifically mention both their mother and father, also that's a great line. And earlier Masha said that Makalov was the only family she had, which is not true in light of this conversation. Also, I can't believe I talked over that. I'm being crippled and no one cares is also a great exchange. There's just so many lines in this game that stick out to me. But we actually get a little bit more, I don't know if I'd say sort of emotion here, but it's like, it's just kind of interesting, because Masha gets angry at him all the time, but I suppose the real reason why she hates his behavior is because, you know, he's her brother, and she actually does worry about him. Well, yeah, normally I'd agree, but this is Makalov we're talking about. And just when it seemed like Makalov might have been getting a bit more likable... I really hope that facepalm picked up, because that actually kind of hurt, but... I had to do that pretty loudly so that you'd get my reaction there, because, seriously, So, Ike's final support conversations. Leth and Jill still don't have an A yet. I think that's because I didn't bring Leth in a few chapters, like chapter 14. No, chapter 15 was the one where I didn't bring her, and that might have caused this. So we'll have to wait a little bit. However, we do actually have a few supports with Ranulf, specifically just with Leth and Mordecai. Now, definitely want to do Leth's one. I feel like that makes more sense to do this one first. But I'm mostly going to be using Leth a little bit because I want her to get a B with Ranulf. I've said this before, but there's a very specific reason why I'm doing this. Well, I mean, we do have Maureen, but didn't have any other characters from Gallia. And she's still kind of tsundere, even towards non-Bjork. In your own way, that's another way of saying, I am a tsundere. Just realized, speaking of tsunderes, I just found a line in something that I thought sums up tsunderes extremely well, which is, I think I'm allergic to feelings. Leth is also not as much allergic, but doesn't like the smell of iron. Please don't go that route. Please don't. Please don't. Don't prompt fanfiction. Frederick's poster of Crom already did enough of that. Yeah, I can tell. In fact, we saw that back in that base conversation in Chapter 10. That's an odd way to end a support conversation, but the B support's a little more interesting. I like how Runoff was able to support both of them, though. Because I find a lot of the, like, while this game has a lot of good support conversations, some of the choices in, like, who can support who seems a little bit weird. Like how there isn't an Icon Mist support. Like how Volk only has one support option. Accent makes me wonder how Mordecai would sound if he was actually voiced. Yeah, he explained this in the base conversation much earlier. Obligatory mention of the fact that cats are literally incapable of roaring, so the fact that they can in this universe is a bit weird. Well, I mean, standard cats, not like lions and tigers. It's what differentiates big cats from the more house cat variety. And I think that's pretty much everything. So, we didn't get any new skills, did we? Doesn't seem like it. I could actually teach Ranulph. Oh, I need to remember to give Blizzard to Soren, I think, but I could teach him 36 weight in that state. In fact, how heavy is... I'm pretty sure that's not enough to... Nope, not enough to smite Jill, so... Teaching him smite might not be the best idea. It's probably better to give that to Maureen. But... I don't know, maybe I should... I'm not sure, because I'm going to be using Ranulph for a little bit more. He's going to be a decent filler character to have. Other than that, I don't really think there's much I can do here, so... Let's hope you don't get a no up this time. Well, only slightly better than a no up. But you've got plenty of time to max out. She's gonna like, she only needs to gain 2 more points of strength to max it out, and I think skill maxes out at like 27 or 28. I think it's 27, so yeah. Jill, on the other hand, might need a little bit of stat gain in order to max out some stuff before the end. Okay, good. I'm glad you gained speed. Her speed cap's actually pretty high, so I might need speed wings to cap that. In my test playthrough for this game, she actually capped speed naturally without any stat boosters, which is pretty amazing. And no way am I bonus experiencing you. You're fine as you are. Yeah, you're gonna cap resistance and skill very soon too. And I guess I can level up Gatry and have a little bit of bonus experience to spare. Like I said, I mean, I know I've already said this, but from here on out, the only bonus experience is for turns. There's going to be nothing for any optional objectives or anything like that. Okay, Ike, your speed ring 4K has worked for you so far. Let's hope it still does. Good. Magic is weird, but speed is all I really wanted. Even though your speed should be a lot higher by now. But yeah, Ike will actually need to be hitting max, not so much max level, but at the very least max strength quite soon. In fact, I think that speed is enough for the Black Knight battle. Because as long as you don't get doubled, but like, there is no way you can double the Black Knight, but as long as you aren't getting doubled in return, it's fine. And I think I might as well give you something southern right now. Jill, you know what? You could really use another forged hand axe. Let's see. Can we forge silver axes? Yes, we can forge silver axes now, finally. And we can also forge silver bows, which would imply... Yeah, so the armory is now selling silver axes and silver bows rather than those things. And in fact, I might want to get one of these for Titania. Don't really need a second one. Because your strength is really lagging behind. Yes, you can take Hicks McGee. And actually, though, that Brave Axe might be... I might want to save that, though. Brave weapons are always a bit of a dilemma in the series because... Yeah, Jill can't actually use that anyway. Because you want to save them, but of course, if you... And there's that actual physics staff. I guess I can probably convoy that. You want to save them for when you really need them, but you also don't want to wait until the very end, because then they'll be useless. Don't do that. I think Stefan's okay on weapons for now. And I'm going to go ahead and forge another hand axe. Well, let's go ahead and reference some more terrible translations. Well, hilariously terrible translations. Yeah, let's make it red this time. Jill hasn't had a red throwing axe yet. That's from Final Fantasy V, by the way, one version of it. And yeah, you can probably tell what that's supposed to be. I can't believe they actually went there. Just can't believe that they actually translated it that badly. But I think that should be enough. Let's go. And now it's raining. Surely that can't imply anything ominous at all. Well, I mean, I wouldn't quite go the kiss upon the face route, but I actually kind of agree with Bastion about rain. I like light rain. Not really heavy storming rain, but light rain has always been one of my favorite weathers. Also, this is a great exchange. I'll just let this play out. That's a really, really good line. It's understandable that Joffrey is anxious waiting for the princess to come, though. Jeffrey prides himself on being a true knight, so the fact that Bastion is having to instruct him how to be one is kind of embarrassing. Yeah, I'm pretty sure everyone saw that coming. You might also see orange roof villages on this map, so we'll have to save a few of those. About that. Oh no, they've chosen the encircle option and are waiting to starve them out. Yeah, I recently started playing a Total War game. I'm actually terrible at it, but I can get into that if I need a tangent in this chapter. This whole scene is interesting. I know that knights are supposed to lay down their lives for their liege, but to just completely abandon them right now... She's lost almost everyone she cares about. Surely we can save one more. Also, the other reason I like this scene is because Ike is great here. I mean, it's nothing that we can't handle. We've done this many, many times before. Something that hasn't actually been pointed out, and I'm really surprised that Lucia hasn't mentioned anything about this yet, Joffrey is actually her brother. So, I'm really surprised that she's so keen on resigning him to his fate. Yeah, remember that we're still under Alincia's employ. And what he said. So it's time for a rescue mission. With some NPCs, sadly. They're actually kind of competent NPCs though, at least on this mode. I'll talk about that once we get to the actual chapter. They're surrounded by quite a lot of enemies though. We'll need to break our way through to reach them.